First of all, let me thank you, Professor Lapinder, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to come and speak. I'm really glad that you called me. Now let me move on from the statistics part to little thoughts which I have about Green Revolution, partly spoken by Nirvika in the morning. So I'm not going to dwell a lot, and of course Professor Singh also mentioned, and in the work which has been done by Professor Lapinder, he has repeatedly mentioned in his books about what went wrong with the Green Revolution, how things were really bad in terms of cancer, kidney failures, the pesticides, the role of pesticides and fertilizers in spoiling and almost desertifying the soil, the depleting water table, and the air pollution that has taken place. The Green Revolution, of course, was an interesting, very interesting phase in any country's life. It would be absolutely true for India. And when I speak of any other country, I was at Harvard doing my postdoctoral studies, where I met Professor Michael Kramer, who later on became a Nobel laureate, and then he spoke even at Eagle Foundation. So at Harvard, we were chatting, and one day Michael Kramer came very gleefully telling me about he has a 3 million project to do to push Green Revolution in Africa. So I asked Professor Michael Kramer, and this is 2004, around April or May. Still remember we were at the Kennedy School talking, and he was so thrilled. And I told him, I said, Professor Kramer, you have a $3 million project for this country, but do you know the pitfalls of Green Revolution? I said, what are the pitfalls? Means there's a high yield variety seeds, they guzzle water, we know it, they need fertilizers, we understand, and not the organic fertilizers, they need the chemical fertilizers, I understand, but Africa can afford it. And I'm doing a pilot project and we're going to replicate it. But I said, no, I'm talking about the pitfalls. And he said, what pitfalls? So I had to tell him that I used to live in Bombay before coming to Harvard. People from Punjab are suffering, and there's a train called the cancer train. Punjab is the cancer capital of the country, and they all come to Bombay for treatment of cancer. Kidney failures had yet not started, they came later. He had not been. I spoke to EPW Professor Dr. S.L. Shetty. Can you do a few studies on pitfalls of Green Revolution in EPW? And he said, well, if there are studies done in Punjab, I'm happy to publish it. But where is the study? There were no studies. If the objective is growth, which we should have as an objective, we need two things, labor and capital. Punjab youth is healthy. The Sikh philosophy that set in Punjab about 500 years ago says there should be no caste system. So there are people who could be available for anything. So it's not that somebody is only a plumber or a goldsmith or an ironsmith, he can't do the other work. Because there's no caste system, they can come and do any other work we want them to do. So that the workforce should be better. There's no gender bias. Women should be able to work as much as men if they're willing to, and if they're available and if the jobs are available. And then they're healthy. By virtue of the climate, Green Revolution brought in good health. But what happened? Where is that healthy labor that we used to talk about? Or at least we economists think that good labor, adequate amount of capital. I'm telling you, we are sitting ready with the capital. Where is the project? And I'm not the only bank who's looking into Punjab. Punjab National Bank is here. State Bank of India is competing with us to get accounts. HDFC came in a big way. Before that, Oriental Bank was here. Where are the projects? Healthy labor, capital is waiting, there are no projects. Then, where did we go wrong? So my reading is, as Green Revolution demonstrated, that we overexploited the system, a good system, by whatever incentives we gave, that the water table depleted, soil totally became a desert soil and lost its life and vitality, and the air got polluted. And then The Sikh ethics say and give the status of Guru to the earth, Father to water, Mother to earth. And this is not just the Sikh Guru saying, even before that, if you read the Sanskrit literature, they talk about it. What happened that we overexploited, and all the three which were essential, we just did away with. So the point that I'm trying to make, we need to grow. Everybody wants to grow. Individuals want to grow, families want to grow, companies want to grow, states want to grow, nations want to grow, everybody wants to grow. America wants to grow. Then labor is available, capital is waiting to be deployed, but there are no opportunities here. So then, what did the states, and we at Ego started thinking about it, and I mentioned in the morning that we want to learn from each other. States which went ahead of us, what did they do? And states which are racing against us, even now, what did they do? For example, Odisha. Many people tell me that Haryana went ahead because they have Gurgaon and Faridabad. There's good amount of research which is done by Professor Ramesh Chand, where he showed if I net out Haryana's growth of Faridabad and Gurgaon, still Haryana is growing fast. So therefore, what is that they are doing? How come they have more investment friendly projects? And how come they are home to more than 100 Fortune 500 companies, which we are not? If you look at Tamil Nadu, and we did this exercise at IGRO and even otherwise, if you look at Tamil Nadu, it's doing what it's doing with the automobile hubs. Chennai, it's the Detroit of India. And they have all brands there. They have the Hyundai, they have BMW, Daimler, Renault, Nissan, Mitsubishi, Yamaha. If you look at Kerala, Professor Joseph was looking a little unhappy in the morning, but Kerala is also doing way ahead of us. Of course, their health indicators are better, but their tourism is something fantastic, and that is taking them way ahead. And of course, they get lots of remittances. The Karnataka model is an amazing one. I was there in the business school over there, and I can tell you the dynamism that Karnataka has and the leaders have is unbelievable. They are ready to trap a flying sparrow, which they did under taxable instruments. Taxable instruments was designated to go to Tamil Nadu. The moment they came to know there's a taxers chief guy visiting Chennai, from the airport they kidnapped him, brought him into Karnataka and got the project done. That's the urge they have to make the state what it is. You will be surprised. Professor Lakwinder, you will be surprised. You have invited me today to speak how to control the fall. I was at Hubli last week, and week before that, I was again there. They were doing projects. Week before that, I was near Belgaum. They were doing a project, and there was 2 days conference on Viksit Karnataka. They're talking in terms of what will Karnataka be in 2047. They're so ahead of us in thinking. The 2-day workshop, and all India professors were over there. Maharashtra is, of course, we all know how Maharashtra went about the Navi Mumbai that they brought in, and of course we were port city and for such a long time. They have not let a single day go past without wasting it. And Gujarat, of course, the Prime Minister's own state, and there is no opportunity which is left unturned. And the gift city that is now coming up is again a revolutionary idea. Now we know here are the states which are successful, and it has been documented in various studies. I don't have to go in detail, but I can simply enumerate them, that in Punjab, the reasons for the free fall has been poor governance, poor fiscal performance, some of that I've shared with you, lack of dynamic industrial policy. You see that still we are not able to come in grips with it, and whatever little in the morning session, it was clearly discussed what happened with Mandi Govindkar, the sports industry in Jalandhar. We all know the fate of it, and we also know other things that, of course, which Sucha Singh Gill was telling us in the morning how industry vanished from Amritsar and Batala. Too much of emphasis on agriculture without diversification. And there are studies which spoke about diversification. I think there was a report in which Professor Johal had also spoken about diversification. 1986. And we ignored it all the time. And that's why it surprises me that we, with the philosophy that we have of forward-moving, good, healthy neighbor, we did not think that this period will also not last forever. And now we have a lesson. When people say that you have good friends, I say I doubt. If America can do to Canada what it did, then don't be surprised. Anybody can do anything to me, irrespective of a friend today or not a friend. So I think one has to be on their own. And then, of course, the other thing which has been listed, and I am simply enumerating, is the lack of investment that is not available in our state. So just imagine the urge in the state leadership that in this race we can't be left behind. And I'm sure there are many people to go and refer to, but they are not leaving any stone unturned that if we get something here, let's make the best of it. Oh, now let me come to the concluding section of my presentation. So what all can we do now? We are where we are. That has been lamented, discussed in the morning session, documented also. What all can we do now? Now I'm going to spend just 5 minutes, and again I'm going to enumerate, because I know everybody who is perplexed with this issue have the solutions also in mind. And so the solution that I have in mind could be naive, because you are living here, you know better, and I'm still, I live here and outside, so I keep getting both the sides. So I could be naive and I would seek forgiveness for that. But I think some of the things which I think are important, the question answer sessions, I can elaborate more. I think floriculture and horticulture is something we need to diversify into. Agro-processing has been written extensively both by Professor Lakwinder and Professor Nirvikar. I think it's a very potent area and not being done. And that is where I think the MSP spoiled us. Sorry, quote unquote, spoiled us. Because other things went straight. Had they not been going straight, I would have thought of agro-processing of my wheat and started coming out with products which had more value addition and would have enriched the farmer. But because the crop went straight out from my hand, I got so complacent. The water conservation is obvious for everybody, and when you spoke about the sprinkler thing, you are right. In 1983, I was in Jalandhar, and I just picked up a job with Punjab National Bank, and I got calls, and I was posted in Jalandhar Cant. Calls from people around. Jalandhar Cant had some farmers with army background. They were saying, can we get sprinklers? In 1983. But Punjab government, nobody ever thought that sprinklers is the place. Why are we wasting our water so badly? The environmental concerns sitting in Delhi, I find, are massive, and I think there are solutions to it, but those solutions are good solutions. They are not being exploited, and I think those solutions making from the waste, many things can be made, and the farmer's income can enhance. But that I think is yet not being subsidized, incentivized, or being extensively used. When it comes to industry, obviously in the morning session, he has already made the point, I don't want to repeat it, but there is so much of opportunity in the places from where industry has walked out to get it back. And as I keep saying, that while other states are struggling to attract the industry, we are not even attempting a pull factor. MSMEs, of course, because I lived in Jalandhar, I know about the sports goods industry there, and I thought that was extremely vibrant. And when I was at IIM Bangalore, we did a study of the same sports food industry in Jalandhar through SIDBI, and we did not find the response to be too good. This time, of course, the explanation was a very strange explanation. They said under MNREGA, labor goes back and doesn't return, and therefore we have to maintain double the labor. And now, because 1983, when I first started looking at sports industry, and 2014 when we did at IIM Bangalore, The feeling was that the sports industry has become so competitive that it's not cost effective the way it is being handled in Jalandhar. So I think there is scope to do lots of research. On crafts and fulkari and Amritsari papad and Badiya, the type of scope that is there has not been explored at all. Finally, under services, I think tourism is a great thing one can do. You will be surprised to know, in Visakhapatnam, they have come out with a medical tourism park. 100 hospitals will be there at one single cluster. All specialties and super specialties will be there. So states are thinking so much ahead that we have our people in the diaspora. They will be exploited, looking for opportunities. Let them get us here. We do have medical colleges in Punjab, but we are not promoting them the way we could. And when I was in Bombay, I used to see that medical tourism from different countries like Oman, Maldives, Tanzania, Kenya, Iraq. There's so much of scope and opportunity and not being. I also feel Punjab is a very lucky land of the riches and the land of the gurus. The religious tourism, which is now becoming very popular all over the country, and you're seeing what happened at Mahakumbh, and now you know the circuit at Ayodhya and Mahakumbh, and then Mathura, the amount of resources is pumping into the UP economy is massive. I don't think there's anything to feel shy about it. And religious tourism is one thing which we need to really explore. Rural and farm tourism is again interesting, which Maharashtra is doing great, Karnataka is doing great. I have myself gone and stayed at coffee plantations. It's a great feeling. I don't know why Punjab is not doing it in a big way. I want to now mention two things which have already been flagged, but I would like to just reiterate. One is education and literacy. I'm sorry to tell you, the way our children came back just a month back under handcuffs. Why are our children educated not able to get absorbed the way South Indian universities are able to ensure absorption in main field employment? Why our children are not getting absorbed? Why do they get identified? Why do they get isolated and then they meet the fate that they are meeting? Look at the GI tag. UP has about 70 items. Punjab has only 2. Why? Where and who is going to make this happen? So I think while we as economists need to rethink, we have also to ensure that our policymakers, be it bureaucrats, be it the political leadership, is flooded with ideas that look, and they're asked, they're questioned, look, why a neighboring state like UP can go for 69 GI tags and we have only 2 tags? So with that, I just want to conclude by saying one thing, and which is actually strengthening the point which Professor Lakwinder made, the planning board. The planning board is one such area which is a fountainhead of knowledge in a state. I've been associated while doing my MPhil from Trivandrum, Professor Thapar. We had one Professor I.S. Gulati who was chairing the planning board of Kerala, and I was from the reserve bank. He would invite me home. I always thought for a dosa because he was a Punjabi Sardar. But every time I landed up at his house, he had some discussion to do on Kerala, Kerala's economy, banking in Kerala, how to increase the deposits of Kerala, how to ensure more credit flow into Kerala. The planning board. The planning board is making on the drawing board plans for where to take the state. And I think it's high time that the planning board of our state is also equally strengthened. How to do it? It can't be election to election. It can't be party to party. It just can't be year to year. It just can't be, oh, now I have to fix air pollution, so everything on air. No, there has to be a bigger story that resulted in COVID. We need one in Punjab. Thank you.